What would it mean to you to be able to quit your 9-to-5 job and have the means to support yourself financially for the rest of your life? Well, ultimately, this is what it means to be financially free, and while some people achieve this lifestyle at an early age, others grow old never knowing just how wonderful this feeling can be. Luckily, boss, in this video, I will share with you the 5 steps you need to take in order to be financially free, and if you're new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below for more life-changing content. Many people dream about a day when they can retire from work and begin doing anything they want. They fantasize about a time when they would have no bills to pay, a ton of money in the bank, and be able to travel the world eating in the best restaurants, staying in the fanciest resorts, and seeing the world's most beautiful sights. Who wouldn't want to be free from money worries? There's an old saying that money can't buy happiness. Perhaps so, but no matter how true that is, it is equally obvious that all else being equal, having money can eliminate a lot of problems and make life a lot easier. Most of these people think that if they just had enough money, all their problems would be solved, and they could live a life of ease. As a result, they spend thousands of dollars over the course of their lives buying lottery tickets or playing games at the casino to win their ticket to financial freedom. However, for 99.9% of people, this strategy will never pay off. Luckily, there are other proven ways to achieve financial freedom that depends much less on luck and more on knowledge and skill that anyone can employ. In fact, becoming financially free starts with education around what it truly means to be free. You see, financial independence is not generated by temporary levels of wealth or income, but by setting correct priorities, exercising self-discipline in financial decisions, living debt-free, effectively managing resources, and claiming it as a personal, emotional, and mental attitude. When you do these things well, you will soon find yourself with plenty of money in the bank, but more importantly, you will discover that the freedom people seek can be realized easier than ever dreamed. Therefore, let's now get into the 5 steps you must follow if you want to be financially free. Step number 1, set your priorities. Your financial future begins with the priorities you choose to set for yourself. There are many of these choices, but the most important one is deciding to value the act of saving money more than spending it. Sadly, the majority of Americans fail to make this decision in their lives, which is why they never achieve financial freedom. As of 2019, 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and as I previously mentioned, this is partly due to a sheer inability to control spending. This lack of financial prioritization and control is why collectively Americans are in more than $1 trillion worth of credit card debt. This means that every month, instead of putting money into investments that will allow them to retire early, millions of people are sending payments to creditors to try and keep up with their debt balances. What makes this situation even sadder is that cost is not an inhibitor to people's spending. Between soaring gas prices and the ever-increasing cost of common luxuries like our clothes and electronic devices, you would think that people would slow down their spending, but unfortunately this isn't the case. And of course, the more people spend, the less they have to save, which is why the average American household only has $8,800 worth of savings. For many Americans, they are one expensive car repair or medical emergency away from having nothing to their name. This is all to say that if you want to become financially free, you must avoid the common spending pitfalls of those around you. Financial independence requires setting savings as a top priority, with a 10% rate suggested as the norm. Without saving money, financial success is impossible, but with it, success is almost inevitable. Step number 2, employ self-discipline. Exercising self-discipline in financial decisions is the second step towards financial independence, and one of the keys to building wealth is to have the ability to delay gratification. For many people, when they see that the new model of their favorite phone is released, they jump at the opportunity to buy it. They simply cannot delay the gratification that owning that phone will give them. This behavior, especially when employed on a consistent basis, is what is driving the debt crisis in the United States and ultimately stopping people from becoming financially free. Unfortunately, many people simply undervalue the power of delaying gratification, yet it has been shown time and again to be a key component when striving to become wealthy. In a study of over 2,500 people, participants were asked whether they would hypothetically accept a smaller sum of money, $500 USD, or a larger sum, $1,000 USD, after a delay, which could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year. When the researchers used machine learning algorithms to model the relationship between individuals' tendency for delay discounting and the other self-reported variables, they found that delayed discounting was more predictive of income than age, ethnicity, race, and height. Now, part of the reason we have such a hard time delaying gratification is due to us succumbing to impulse purchases. Admittedly, I used to struggle with the temptation of buying new things. For instance, I would get it in my head that I needed a new outfit for a special work event, and before I knew it, I had spent a couple $100s on it. More often than not, these types of purchases weren't necessary, and after realizing this, I decided to employ a technique to help curb my spending. Now, whenever I find myself wanting to buy something new, I write it down along with the date it will be in 30 days. Then, I wait at least 30 days. Once the 30 days are up, I ask myself if I still want that item, and quite frankly, almost 100% of the time, I've overcome my desire to buy that item, which ultimately saves me money. You see, sometimes your willpower may be low, and you must rely on techniques like this one to help you avoid frivolous spending, which when used regularly, will help you keep your finances in order. Step number 3, live debt-free. While it is easier said than done, living debt-free is essential to achieving financial independence. Unfortunately, for more than 120 million American households, being debt-free is more of a dream than it is a reality. Quite honestly, I believe that the debt crisis we see in the Western world is a product of just how consumer-centric our society has become. We are constantly bombarded by ads on our smartphones and televisions, and this constant exposure to products and services ultimately causes us to spend more money. Not to mention, shopping isn't just limited to malls anymore. You can buy literally anything nowadays online, making spending that much easier. But this wasn't always the case, which is why I think we used to see people from our parents' generation being able to achieve a debt-free lifestyle much easier. My parents lived on a rather average income, but they managed their finances well. For instance, they saved money by buying cars used rather than new and focused on buying things they needed versus splurging on want items. Simply put, they knew the value of a dollar, and by employing sound financial principles, were able to enjoy a debt-free lifestyle. Unfortunately, nowadays people want things before they've saved up the money, which results in the assumption of debt and all the financial stress that comes with it. Now, while living debt-free is the optimal state when trying to achieve financial freedom, assuming some debt over the course of your life will happen. But the key is to limit this debt to productive debt. If you're unfamiliar with productive debt, it is essentially debt that provides a greater return than its cost. An example of this is student debt. Sure, going to college may cost you $50,000 for your degree in engineering, but if that degree turns into a $100,000 a year job, then assuming that initial amount of debt will pay for itself. These are the only types of debt you should take on if you must, but saving up the money before any purchase is always the most advisable path. Step number 4, resource oversight. The next secret to financial independence is to effectively manage resources with financial freedom in mind. You see, there are 3 types of people when it comes to money management. There is the first, who simply does not manage their money at all. These are the people who often find themselves in the worst of financial situations. Then there's the average money manager. This type of person reviews their finances once a month to ensure they got paid and that the money went out to cover their routine bills. Finally, there's the driven money manager. This type of person, which you should strive to become, sets financial goals and at least monthly reviews not only their goals but the actions they will take to make their financial dreams become a reality. You see, part of the reason that people feel that becoming financially free is impossible is because they lack a solid sense of control over their money. They are completely overwhelmed by all the financial responsibilities they have taken on, which has left them with little financial power in the form of savings and investments. I want to emphasize that your path towards financial freedom will only begin once you learn to track your income and expenses and use the balance to help grow your wealth. You should have clear goals outlined and the actions you must take in order to get there. For instance, if you want to grow your investments to $1 million in the next 30 years, you must have a plan in place to be able to contribute $500 a month into your investment account. Step number 5, believe in freedom. All the other steps I have previously mentioned will do nothing to help you achieve financial freedom if you don't have the right mindset, which is why the final step is to adopt the right mental attitude. Now, this is easier said than done. For the average person, achieving financial freedom seems so far away, and in the beginning it can be hard to even reason to yourself that hitting this goal is possible. However, without a focused mindset, you will be more susceptible to the common pitfalls that stop people from achieving this lofty money goal. For instance, you may have moments of weakness on your path to financial freedom and splurge on a new TV that you definitely didn't need, or upgrade your car when your old one was running fine. These financial decisions then may impede your ability to invest consistently, which is the main driver of wealth for most people trying to become financially independent. As you can see, having a positive and focused mindset is crucial during this financial endeavor. The other mindset mistake to avoid is thinking that you need extreme wealth to be free. The fact is that you could have millions of dollars and be totally enslaved by your financial responsibilities. Many wealthy people are constantly in fear of becoming destitute. This is partly because of the way they invest and manage their money, but it is primarily because of the way they think and feel about themselves and their money. On the other hand, a person could have an average income and a modest amount of savings, but feels a great sense of independence, especially when they own their home debt-free and have no other debts of any kind. If you have the money you need to meet all of your necessary expenses, remain firmly committed to avoiding any other unwanted financial obligations. And if you have more than enough funds to do the things you really value in life, why shouldn't you feel a sense of financial freedom? You should, but you must work your way up to this point by employing the 5 steps I have now shared with you. Thanks for watching. If you want to go from the life you have to the life you deserve, then hit the subscribe button now.